Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. This is our monthly board meeting. Today is the 4th of March. How can I forget that day? Special day in my life, but it's okay. I'll tell you later. I'm sorry, we are slowly getting adjusted over here and getting ready. One meeting, please. Kindly silence your cell phones at the same time. It's a great idea, isn't it? So today is, like I said, March 4th. This is our regular board meeting of the Golden Rain Foundation. We are in the boardroom, and it's just after 9:30. It's 9:32 in the morning. I do call this meeting to order, and we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Is Director Motwani here? Yes. Can you please lead us in this pledge? Moto.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right. All right. Do we have any media in the room?
No.
I don't think so, but they may be lurking around in the clouds somewhere. So we do want to acknowledge that they could be somewhere. Thank you. Yes. Approval of the agenda. I'd like. Thank you. Do I have a second? Any changes? Is it? If there are no changes, then I think the agenda is approved. Thank you. Next item is approval of the minutes. There are 4 minutes from our past meetings. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, the minutes, sorry? Thank you. One and second, two. If there are no corrections or any objections, then all the minutes are approved. Report of the chair. Okay. I have a few things I'd like to bring up. Something that I've been pondering over in the last week or so. So, first thing is, spring is approaching. And next weekend is also the time change. So make sure you change your clocks. You will be reminded also from our media department and with all kinds of emails and stuff. So that's it. The next item on my list is we had a very exciting, enthusiastic participation for the space planning meeting. But I want everybody to note that whatever we discussed that day was still, no decisions have been made. We are still in the fact-finding situation, and it's a great department or an item that we are working on, and nothing is for sure decided. So that's another thing. There was a little bit of apprehension somewhere, and also, I attended one of the meetings, and I want to mention to you that our speed limit is still 25. It hasn't changed. And people are running the stop signs. The fees that are being charged are pretty high. But soon, you may not be able to attend any traffic school to control those fees. So please be mindful when you drive that you may be stuck with a big ticket. So please don't come, or you may be able to give your rebuttal on that, but I would kindly request that control the speed and don't run the stop sign. That's the big thing that I want to announce. I also want to talk. Please silence your phones. Right. So please be mindful. That's what I wanted to say. Also, there is a lot of fear amongst our residents that this new board that we have, we're only 4 months into this period. We all have terrific, great ideas, and we have projects all listed down to do many different things. So there is fear that we may use up all the reserves, but people don't realize reserves don't affect your HOA dues. We're not going to use up the reserves for nothing. Whatever we do is going to enable you to reduce your homeowner dues. So that is the main reason for all the projects that we are trying to list to get done. The whole idea is improve the amenities, make life better, and also reduce your HOA dues. This is going to help everybody because that is the problem which everybody is facing, because nobody's income is increasing. We are all retired, and we are not here on a daily wage that will help us increase our monthly income. So please be mindful that we are not here to increase your HOA dues. Also, lastly, don't send me or my board members a lot of email, because what I'm trying to do is to set up a town hall where all of you can come and let us know your thoughts. We are open to hear anybody and everybody. So you can voice yourself, we will answer all your questions and take it from there. And lastly, I want to introduce to you our social services manager. Her name is Lourdes. Lourdes, if you're here, please, would you like to take the microphone and introduce yourself to everybody?
Good morning, Board of Directors. I attended the Security Committee meeting last week and was asked to come in to introduce myself. My name is Lourdes Oseguera. I'm the new manager for the Social Services Division. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and have a background working with older adults in hospitals, skilled nursing, and community settings. I've been a part of the Social Services Department since 2020 and in the management position since about September. And I'm truly grateful to work with a team that is dedicated to our mission of helping residents maintain their independence and enhance their quality of life. It's a wonderful team. We do a lot to provide residents with information on resources and referrals. We're very grateful to work closely with the Foundation of Laguna Woods to provide temporary emergency financial assistance to residents that are experiencing a financial need. We also provide short-term counseling services and put on a variety of presentations and seminars throughout the year on topics that are relevant and of interest to the community. I do want to mention that last month we collaborated with the Alterations Department to bring on the California Contractors State License Board to speak on how to prevent home improvement scams. And that presentation was recorded and it's available on the Village Television YouTube channel for anybody that might be interested. Great information was shared. And currently working on building up our programs for 2025, so a lot in progress. I'm hoping to bring on a representative from the Social Security Administration and in talks with a VA expert to come talk about benefits. So I'm very excited to be in this new position, and I look forward to continuing to work with village residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Lourdes. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody from the board? Yes, Gary.
Hi, I'm interested in what we've got on statistics. I understand the overall number is that our average citizen or member here is plus or minus on 80. I was wondering, do we have that broken down any farther to like how many over 90? And I'd also be really interested if we know how long those folks have lived here.
We do have a breakdown on ages in terms of new cases and ongoing cases, but I don't have that information with me. I can get that to you.
Gary, do you know?
But that's the cases that you have, not
Yes.
the overall numbers.
I don't have the overall numbers.
Gary, we can provide that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? No, thank you, Lourdes. Appreciate it and welcome. Okay, so the next item on our list is CEO's report. Siobhan?
Honorable President, members of the board, it's my honor this morning to provide the CEO update. Today I'm going to share key updates from various VMS departments. I'm going to start with financial services and talk about the 2026 budget development process, which is underway. As you are aware, it started in January with GRF committees reviewing capital proposals, and we have our last committee meeting later this week on that topic. And then in April and May, staff develops the budget. In May and June, boards review version 1 of the proposed budget. In July, the boards review version 2 of the proposed budget. And in August, we present version 3 of the budget to the boards via the televised meetings. And then in September, we are tentatively slated to approve the 2026 budgets at the regular September board meetings. On the screen before you now is where we've been. This is simply a list of all the GRF committees that have reviewed capital budgets so far. And again, we have one more meeting at the end of this week. And then on the next slide is our look ahead. Upcoming GRF budget meetings include the capital review on Wednesday, May 14th at 1:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. Operating department review will take place on Wednesday, May 28th at 1:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. And the board budget workshop will be held on Wednesday, June 11th at 1:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. The dates and times for the mutual meetings are shown on this slide as well. But again, we would look forward to working with the board as we move through this process this year. And you know we changed it up a little bit to try to get the committees involved early so we get real feedback early on in the process and hopefully better meet the expectations of the board as we move forward. So we're excited about that. Switching to security services, security is working to enhance security with the Orange County Real-Time Operations Center. This is known as the RTOC, which is a state-of-the-art hub where law enforcement analyzes real-time data from multiple sources. This enhances the Sheriff's Department policing strategy, enables faster, safer, and more effective responses to crime activity. Advanced technology provides the deputies with real-time intelligence, improving decision-making and prioritizing community and officer safety. Key benefits of participation in the RTOC include live situational awareness during incidents, faster response and resource allocation, enhanced investigations of suspects and vehicle ID. And this may save our security staff up to 500 staff hours per year, as Orange County Sheriff's Department will be able to retrieve video directly from us, and that'll eliminate the need for us to manually review certain videos and provide that information to the Sheriff's Department. There's a phased approach to implementation. Phase 1 would integrate gate cameras with the RTOC. Phase 2 would expand to other high-value surveillance areas identified by the Sheriff's Department. And Phase 3 would deploy additional fixed and temporary cameras in crime-prone areas as needed on a go-forward basis. This impact should include improved emergency response coordination. Real-time insights will help the Sheriff's Department and Orange County Fire Authority and other agencies to deploy the right personnel and equipment. And this will maximize security efficiency, again, reducing our manual video review allowing staff to focus on proactive safety measures here in the village. Our Information Services Department continues to tweak the community website. As you know, this went live this fall. They are currently gathering feedback to enhance usability and accessibility, prioritizing service requests to make it easier for residents to submit those, and find key contacts and guest registration options. The department is also continuing to refine search functionality. Highlights from our landscaping services include tree trimming along Aliso Creek. This is essential tree trimming, and it's taking place in certain areas of the creek to help improve safety for our community and wildlife. Trimming began yesterday, Monday, March 3rd, and continues over the next couple of weeks. Trimming is concentrated in designated parts of Aliso Creek, particularly areas with dense tree coverage near pathways and residential zones. And the purpose of the work is to reduce fire fuel and minimize potential coyote habitats, ensuring a safer environment for both residents and local wildlife. In terms of 2025 Aliso Creek maintenance and compliance, the compliance cycle involves scheduled maintenance in the spring, summer, and winter of 2025. Activities include removing invasive plants, the cattails most notably, for flood control and habitat preservation. We'll use both mechanical and chemical methods. In terms of permit compliance, our 2025 requirements include increased agency coordination with detailed pre- and post-maintenance reports. In terms of wildlife protections, the southwestern pond turtle is now a federally threatened species, requiring stricter monitoring and separate pre-maintenance surveys 15 to 30 days before the work starts, and additional reporting to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And there are new mitigation requirements. Native plant removals must be offset by replanting an equal area with documented reporting and having these be maintained as part of compliance. Landscaping services, in terms of slope and tree maintenance, 2025 features increased slope maintenance to 3 cycles a year, with new plantings being added, and more trees will be trimmed in 2025 than in previous years. In terms of shrub maintenance, Third Mutual will have 6 cycles this year and also adds a dedicated mowing crew. United will have 4 cycles this year. In terms of fire regulation, the department is collaborating, as you know, with OCFA on new fire regulations that are expected to pass later this spring. The landscaping team will adjust as needed once the regulations are finalized, and our annual OCFA inspection occurs later this month, in the month of March. Third Mutual is also embarking on the paint program, re-landscaping program, otherwise known as the PPRP program. This is re-landscaping certain shrub bed areas in conjunction with building painting. The program is exciting, and it expedites the painting process by removing plant material that hinders painters and repair work, saving time and money. It prevents moisture intrusion and dry rot by repositioning plants away from the buildings. It reduces water waste by eliminating high-use irrigation spray heads. It enhances drainage by rearranging shrub beds to direct water away from structures. And it will lower costs with new drip irrigation and low-maintenance plants. As a reminder, residents are encouraged not to alter the common areas after the work has been completed. And as a reminder, our landscaping services offers weekly garden clipping pickups. These are for resident garden trimmings, branches, leaves, and debris. Residents may schedule these by Thursday noon for Friday morning pickup. Resident Services is the contact for this. The telephone number, as you know, is 949-597-4600, or you can email Resident Services at residentservices@vmsinc.org. In furtherance of our emergency preparedness, residents are encouraged to have an emergency go bag at the ready. Pack the go bag with essentials for rapid evacuation, plus extra prescription glasses, pet supplies, and other items specific to your household needs. You're encouraged to keep the bag easily accessible by the door or in a vehicle and light enough to carry. Please check the bag and refresh it regularly. Recommended contents are shown on the screen before you and include things such as a portable phone charger, supply of medications, personal hygiene items, important documents such as passports, driver's licenses, and insurance cards. Residents are also encouraged to stay alert and informed. By enrolling in Code Red, this is the Village Emergency Alert System, you will receive warnings of anything threatening the village. You can visit lagunawoodsvillage.com to register. Click Sign Up Today under the Code Red icon at the bottom right-hand corner of any page, or you may register through the resident portal. Similarly, residents are also encouraged to enroll in Orange County's mass notification system, which is known as Alert OC, and you can register on the oc.gov website on the address shown on the screen before you. Also, to stay alert and informed about local fires, you can visit ocfa.org, or on X, formerly Twitter, you can visit the OC Fire Authority. And lastly, free tax preparation services are available. This IRS certified service has operated for 25 plus years here in the village under the Volunteer Tax Assistance Initiative. More than 1,200 residents were served last year. Appointments are available Tuesday through Thursday in the community center on the 3rd floor. Information and scheduling is available through the PC Club and taxes at thepcclub.org, or by calling 949-391-9718 and leaving a voicemail. That concludes my update this morning. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Thank you, John, for that report. It's very good. I want to stress to the GRF board the importance, especially the first quarter, of when Siobhan's staff comes to the committees to develop the budgets for the following year. This is when we can do our input, where we can use our technical expertise of our advisors that we've got on our committees to do their work and get our needs and wants and whatever's into the budget, and then we sort it out from there. But that is such a critical part of work that needs to be done. It's when they come to us with the proposals, we think it's all VMS wants this and VMS wants that. No, it's a matter of us putting in what we think we need too. So please, another thing on the Orange County, the OC Real Time Operations Center. They're not going to be handling our dispatching of our people.
Not at all, but they'll have access to key cameras so they can see
Just
footage.
cameras,
Yes.
but no radios.
Not to my understanding.
Okay, and the data though, you said something about vehicle ID stuff. Will that be shared with our staff or with our security?
Typically, when there's an incident, if we have footage, we share it with the sheriff's department. This will
Yeah,
just make
it's us
that
sharing
process
them.
faster because they can call up certain cameras and get that information.
And then you said something about integrating gate cameras with RTOC. What about the gate comms? Right now, there's just a phone there. Is there a two-way radio there too for talking to security, or?
We have that, and we also have the computer system, so they have
Computer system?
full access.
I've seen a lot of businesses where they have like a hoot and holler line back to security that, it's something to think about, in the future. Anyways, thank you for a terrific report.
Anybody else? Ellen first.
I want to comment on what Martin said. Yes, you got to pay attention to the budgets, because this year we're not having a second version. The second version will not be live, am I correct? It won't be, it's only to the boards, or what?
Yes, we'll have that input from the boards.
Yeah, so there will only be 2 times for you to review the budgets. So pay attention to the budgets when they come out. Also the hub, where is the hub, that OC Real-Time Hub?
It's located in the city of Tustin.
Oh, okay. And that's where they review the videos?
Yes, apparently it's a very impressive facility. Our staff took a tour about a week ago, and it's just apparently phenomenal.
Okay, I know the security meeting, I know we don't have a whole lot of criminals or people running around crazy with guns, or no necessity for that, no necessity for bulletproof vests or anything like that?
It's not a Wild West.
No vests?
Not a Wild West.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. So that, it sort of sounded a little bit like that. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, Gary, you had something? No. Oh, sorry.
Siobhan, what is the cost of participation in RTOC? Is there additional costs? I see a lot of services. Are any of these subsidized by the county?
There are going to be some costs to transmit that video. What that is, I think we're still in the process of determining it. It's either a piece of hardware or software that's
Yeah,
necessary
cameras
to
and-
make that link.
And if so, perhaps there would be some shared costs from Orange County taxes that we all pay?
We'll certainly explore that once we have the
Thank you.
information.
Thank you.
Well, if everybody's finished, I have one quick comment or note. That is, we have code red, and suppose we forgot whether, I'm just making it up, suppose somebody has already signed up but does not remember whether they have signed up or not, would that create a second entry? Or
No, as long as the information is the same, we would go and verify that it's already been
it will get
registered.
scrubbed
Yes.
off? Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure that people who are hearing it don't worry whether it will get duplicated or not. Please but sign up. So you have access to all the code red and similar alerts that you would need. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
And work on your go bags. Okay, work on your go bags.
Are you expecting something to happen? All right. Thank you. Thank you. It was very nice. Anybody? Are you still?
Can I make a comment?
Yes, yes.
A question, both when we were in Carlsbad and when we were over in Kauai, we had a emergency response group, and I can't think of the official term right now.
Disaster preparedness.
What?
Disaster preparedness.
No, but there's an actual group set up that's national and all of that. There's a anyway, I've
Mission
got- I've got
critical,
one or two of
mission
those
critical
bags.
dispatch,
What?
mission critical dispatch center.
No.
Okay, whatever.
What are you
Okay,
talking
it's volunteers from the community. There's federal funding for it, as I remember. It's done through the fire departments typically, and they organize volunteers, put them through training, so that you could, in case, say we had a big fire or something, they could be employed to check damage in areas, just be extra hands. I understand that there is some bit of an effort once upon a time here. Has there been any thought given back to trying to bring something back like that?
Well, that's a municipal program, so I would have to defer to the city on that. I can have Eric provide an update at the next disaster preparedness meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right. If there are no other comments, then let's move on. The next item is open forum. It's a 3-minute per speaker. Do we have anybody? There's a whole big paragraph. If somebody wants to read it, I wouldn't mind.
We do have a few speakers. We have one on Zoom right now, and then we have a few in person. So I'll do the one on Zoom. It's Dick
All right.
Rader.
It's 3 minutes per person. Okay, Mr. Rader?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Rater 270D. If I understood it correctly, excuse me, the second review of the budget will not be publicly discussed. The budget is one of the most essential things that affects every resident. And I've sat in these meetings, and there are certain proposals that are made, and then they're discussed. But for example, in United, they talk about let's add 2 more landscapers in the past years. It's vital for to hear what the concerns are of the board as to whether they could afford it. The residents need to be interacting. And I don't understand why we have decided to eliminate the second review of the budget. That is not eliminated, but make it unavailable, if I understand correctly, to public comment. Now, I understand that we'll have comment in the third round, but it's the discussion portion that's important because the residents may bring up things that an item may have been eliminated, but if the residents were present, they may have entered in some important information that should have been considered before something got eliminated. So I hope that you would reconsider the second review and make it public. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Next speaker is Chris Collins.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Chris Collins, 3306Q. It was great that Lourdes was here in person. I'm always talking about how the foundation, works with the social services. We don't do anything without them vetting it. So it was great to have the real person here. So thank you. I'm here with another update on the work of the foundation that we do on behalf of village residents who are experiencing temporary financial crisis. So 2024 was a busy year for the foundation. As the village's own local charity, we continue to provide temporary financial assistance to residents who are facing financial challenges. In addition, we work to improve the quality of life for all residents with some focused programs. To increase awareness of the help we provide, we want to share some of our accomplishments as we begin defining our goals for the coming year. So here's a list. We selected the loneliness as our 2024 focus to counter the social isolation that was stemming from the pandemic and foster greater social interaction. We initiated the Bus Lunch Nutrition Connections program to increase social interaction of the Florence Sylvester Senior Center by providing free lunch for 1 month by residents arriving by village bus, piloted first at the towers and then offered to village-wide. Over 50 participants, and after 1 month free lunch, some residents continued on that in the program. We completed on the 2023-24 Memorial Care grant that was providing emergency response devices to fall risk residents with approximately 80 now rented, and even saving the life of a 94-year-old resident. We continue to provide fall prevention classes with Memorial Care for residents. We received a second Memorial Care grant this past November to provide financial assistance to residents needing hearing aids. There are 5 that have participated to date. Hearing loss is a major cause of social isolation and increases the risk of dementia, and residents may apply for this help. We organized and conducted 3 free hearing loss screenings for residents. There were 30 that participated. We participated in the Village 60th anniversary celebration. We participated in Village Peace Day. We completed the last planning for the inevitable video on the subject of hospice care. And we developed the foundation's first Good Neighbor program to involve residents to increase social interaction. And let's see, we selected 5 clubs, and they provided activities. And then after the games were over, we had a meeting of all Good Neighbor Club participants to foster greater interaction among the clubs. Looks like my time's out, but I do want to say that we contributed $210,000 in financial aid, including grocery and gas cards, to village residents facing financial challenges this year. So that's a bit of an overview. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Let's not clap.
I have a question, Chris. You said something about village buses. What was that?
What we did, we had this program. We partnered with Sylvester when they have a congregant lunch program, and so we paid for lunch, but people needed to go from the village on the village bus. That was what that was about.
Not the Age Well bus or anything, right? No, our bus?
It's a village buses from here, yeah.
Okay.
And so the idea was to get people to go over there. It's close to go and see what was offered. So then there were people that decided to stay after, and they kept going but they were paying for their lunch after that. But they did activities. That was the whole idea, because we're trying to get to this thing with loneliness. How do you assist people that are lonely?
Okay.
So-
Have you ever thought of senior mobility, the city of Laguna Woods? Have you ever thought about that? That can pick them right up at their door
Well,
anytime. No.
yeah, I think that I know social services refers people. So
Okay.
it's, we'll pay for things if they recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good service.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
This
much.
is something we will maybe have to do a one-on-one conversation,
Okay,
what Ellen is talking about.
yeah, okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
Is-
the thing is, have you talked to Lourdes and social services?
Yes,
Because-
we will.
Good, good,
Yeah.
thank you. It was
Chris,
so
it's always
wonderful.
nice to have you because you have so much good information for all our residents.
Thank you.
Thank you, truly appreciate it.
Really talking fast here. Thank you.
Yes, Andy. Oh, we have more questions.
One more question, and that is, since I've been in the village almost 4 years.
Actually,
Yeah,
When I go down Moulton,
yeah.
Sorry, President Bada, may I
I've been in the
suggest that
village about 4 years. When I go down Moulton, across from the Cross Line Church, Orange County has some sort of social services office. Do you know what
Yeah, I know where that is.
what do
yeah.
they do? What's their purpose?
I have no idea. I just know that we are the fundraising
Sorry,
arm
yeah.
for our social services.
Okay,
I don't
just a
know what they
question.
do.
Branch office.
If we can get, we're paying our taxes for this stuff, and
But
I just hope that
Andy,
we could get some services from.
we can, but this is not the forum.
No, I was
for
just
it.
wondering if she knew, because
No.
she's very tapped in.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Please, no questions over here because it will become a backward-forward thing and never end. All right, next speaker, please.
Yes, I'll call up the next speaker. There is a response to open forum speakers after this, where you guys will be able to make your
Yes.
comments then. Next person's Carol Moore.
Good morning, and my thanks to staff and your commitment and help. All of us really appreciate it, and thanks to each of you for serving on the board. I attended a meeting recently, and I left very frustrated. I imagine some of you did. Good board members don't come on the board with answers. They come with questions because you have a lot to learn. And when you arrived in this community, unless you lived in Walnut Creek or Seal Beach, you have little understanding of the trust agreement. I get it. There's a lot to learn. And so I got to thinking about it. I thought, what can we do to make certain that we don't come up with answers to problems, particularly when there was a real confusion regarding capital expenditures versus operation expenditures. And I'm going to suggest that you consider an asset management program. It's software that's out there. I happen to know that we're underutilizing some of our assets, and when I heard a proposal to build an additional when we aren't fully utilizing what we have, I was very frustrated. So I'm going to suggest that you consider, I think it could be very helpful and probably save us some money. I know it's a cost in the long run, but an asset management program to help us with not only our amenities, but also with even the lawnmowers, everything we own, and GRF has a lot. So thank you so much for considering that.
Thank you. Please kindly silence your phones. It's kind of very disturbing. And distracting.
Next
Thank you.
speaker is Michael Landry.
Michael Landry, 693B. In the hopes of not causing too much unwarranted tension, I'd like to put a bug to the ear of the community at large about Social Security. There's quite a bit of chatter among media outlets concerning SSI being possibly canceled. I know this is not your jurisdiction, but have we as a community, or could we possibly address this with the community at large to hopefully assuage our fears about this possibility? Many of us depend on SSI payments, and if this goes away, we're in deep doo-doo, y'all. Maybe counselors could be on hand, or experts who can tell us if this is a real danger I mean, even Snopes and all the fact checkers don't know diddly squat about what's going on. And although I'm au courant with the news outlets, I'm not making sense of this. Some people say, oh yeah, it's going to go. We have 20 more years, we have 30 more years, we barely will make it 30 or 90 days. So, I mean, it's my fear, and I think the community at large needs to be aware of it. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Final speaker is John Beckett.
Good morning.
Morning, John.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have been trying to resolve a dispute with GRF. Our disagreement concerns a certain transaction involving $9 million of trust facilities fees. I didn't want to come here today, but your lawyer says I have to discuss this during the open forum. I sent your lawyer a request for resolution. It says, my request was, I request low-cost arbitration. She wrote me a letter saying, the board accepts your request. What she was actually saying is, the board rejects arbitration, but mediation is okay. When I was on the board, this board, we went to mediation 3 times. They all went nowhere. Mediation is kind of like a long bus trip with no final destination. You might resolve it, you might. I want to settle our dispute once and for all. I request binding arbitration. Binding arbitration is where the parties agree ahead of time that they will submit their dispute to a neutral third party, and that an arbitrator, and that arbitrator will decide the matter for all time. I've brought the names of 3 local arbitrators that I believe are qualified to resolve our dispute once and for all. Thank you for considering these names.
Okay.
And that is all for open forum.
Okay. Yes.
Regarding Social Security, it started way back. There's like 17 people working to 1 person collecting, and now we're down to like 3 to 1. Pretty soon it'll be 1 to 1, and my concern is, what if my guy quits? Just wanted to add that.
Okay. Do we have any responses? Yes, Siobhan.
If it's okay, I would like Steve to address Dick Rader's comments about the budget. Because we changed our process this year to involve the committees, so there are far many more public meetings on the budget, despite what Mr. Rader is saying. But I'll turn it over to Steve.
Thank you.
Correct. Thank you. And yes, obviously there's going to be 3 official versions, version 1, 2, and 3. First version will be presented to the board. We'll take any feedback from that version and put it into version 2. It will be important to get feedback from the board, so we will be giving it to all of you, and then in addition to that, we will make it publicly available online. So we have about a month or 2 to figure out exactly how we're going to do that. So we have ideas, but we're going to suggest it internally and make the determination from that point forward. And then, of course, with the version 3 budget, will be presented to the board and televised. So similar processes to previous year, but to Siobhan's point is we involved the committees much earlier on to get as much input from the boards and residents as possible.
Yes, Mark.
Steve, you said version 1 to the board, but also it's to the members.
Of course.
Right?
It'll be in a board meeting. So
Okay,
it was
open.
presented on the schedule
Open,
that Siobhan
okay.
had in her
It went,
schedule
yeah,
update.
because it sounded like it was just to the board. And
Absolutely.
but
Thank you for
no,
clarifying that.
To the members.
Correct.
Thank you.
So,
Yes. one
so
by
there'll
one.
be 3 open versions, like last year.
So there'll be 2 official meetings where this information is presented, but yes, the information will be made publicly available for all 3.
But you say publicly available, but will we do it in a boardroom session, all three?
No. Version 1 and version 3 will be in a public meeting. Version 2 will be posted online, and input will be taken.
Okay, that's changed from last year.
Correct. So
Yes.
again, it's our just
Yeah.
attempt to improve on an annual basis. So we have numerous meetings. So well over 20 meetings over the course of the budgetary process.
Andy?
Yeah, I just want to mention that internally, we've talked about having a strategic plan of sorts for various items. One of them would be facilities. And that would give you a roadmap. It seems like every year we're coming back and looking at basic stuff, you know, where we want to go, the vision. And we're making some efforts to get a vision for GRF. And so that's a work in process, but we hope to streamline this budget stuff because, you know, to come back every year basically with a clean slate in a sense is not that efficient. So we're talking about a roadmap, a strategic plan. So I don't know, Kush, do you want to say anything or just wait to comment?
If you have a brief comment, it's okay.
Okay, that's it. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comment on this one?
I said.
Yes, Igor.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about budget over and over and over again, and the real problem is we've already been presented a bunch of stuff in CAC meetings and such so on. And where did that come from? We really need to be in earlier. We need to be in on the meeting that generates those, because there's stuff in there that's already pure nonsense. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. And in the past, our biggest problem has been not doing the budget 3 times. We have 3 times. We have somebody come and read it to us, and then there's almost no discussion. And what we need is, we don't need a verbatim reading, kindergarten style. What we need is, we need to point at a project and discuss that project and show that it's necessary. Because I can show you some that are not, and I will. Thank you.
Good. Yes, sir. Anybody else? I think this is a very important point. Budget is important because that's where it's all dollars and cents from our pocket. And we are all residents. So just like us, everybody else is affected too. So it's important. We already spoke to Chris Collins. Madam Carol Moore, thank you very much for your pointed assessment of what we did, and we will look into it and move forward with that. Mr. Landry, very important, we will pass your message down to social services so that they can make a proper assessment and educate our residents about the SSI and SSDI and whatever else that affects everybody's monthly pocketbook. Very important. And Mr. Beckett, I think he has left some documents for us, so we will review them and try to get in touch with him. Thank you. With that, let's move forward to our next item on the
Consent calendar.
Yes, next item on the agenda is consent calendar. If there is no objection, then we will approve it without much. So I'm looking for a motion to approve that. Thank you. Anybody else to second that? There's Gary, thank you. So as I said, if there is no objection, then the consent calendar is approved. Thank you. Unfinished business, number 11, there's none on that.
We have the Memorial Day. We have
That was under consent calendar.
okay.
Yeah, that's good then.
Okay, thank you. Number 12, new business. We have a few items on that. So the first item is entertain a motion to deny Clubhouse 5 sidewalk request. No, sorry. Whoa, sorry. Thanks for catching it. Number A, entertain a motion to approve the updated committee assignments. Do I have a motion to update that? To approve that?
Well, you have to read the edits.
Yes. Mr. Gotthofner?
But I must-
Sorry. Yeah. Yes, we haven't made much changes to that. Yeah.
Are we in the right order anyway? Didn't we skip a resolution?
Yeah, that's what I was seeing that too, that we having a resolution on the marathon.
Yes.
No, that was consent calendar.
Okay.
And then Egan needs to read the resolution.
All right. Which one do you want me to?
The committee changes.
Yeah, okay.
The red lines.
Number, agenda item 10B1.
Okay. Resolved, March 4th, 2025, the following persons are hereby appointed, ratified to serve on the committee, in the committees of this corporation. So what I'm going to do is read only the changes that are coming, because otherwise
fine.
we'll be here all day.
Correct.
Okay, Finance Committee, Mr. Cowan, since he is leaving us for Washington, is removed as chair, and Andy Ginocchio is going to be the new chair, and Manohar Motwani is going to be the alternate from GRF. Laguna Woods Village traffic hearings. Gary Durst is going to be an alternate, and Ellen Leonard is removed as alternate to a full-time member. Select Audit Committee, again, William Cowan is removed as chair, and Andy Ginocchio is installed as chair. Executive Hearings Committee, Egon Garthhoffner has been added to the committee. William Cowan has been removed from the committee. Energy Ad Hoc Committee, Andy Ginocchio has been removed. Revenue Generating Ad Hoc Committee, William Cowan has been removed. Gary Durst has been added. Inspector General Position Development Ad Hoc Committee, Egon Garthhoffner Chair, Ellen Leonard, Steve Leonard, Gary Durst, Manohar Motwani, and the advisor is Marie Collins. Resolved that Resolution 90-25-12 adopted February 04, 2025 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Allison, yes. All in favor? Okay. Thank you.
Chair, I have a question about the committees. On the broadband, is that all just on Zoom? Or is it in a meeting? Sit down. It's a meeting. I'm asking Martin.
Broadband is a closed meeting
Closed.
that's attended.
It's attended, okay, unlike the ITAC,
But
correct?
there is a Zoom Connect to it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next is entertain a motion to deny Clubhouse 5 sidewalk request. Looking for a motion.
Well, I don't approve it, so, but we can
Sorry?
open up the discussion.
But first we need to
I
make a motion.
understand, so somebody else can approve it then.
I'll move it.
Okay,
Okay. Second. Okay.
all right. Now discussion. right?
Okay.
Okay. I know that the Landscape Committee denied this request, but I went over there, and it appears that people have been walking on this very short dirt area anyway, but it's slightly uphill. And I think that the request, he had stated that there have been injuries by people, and I thought we were going to get some type of report. I don't know. I don't. There is a report about the injuries? Oh, people broke, yeah. Anyway, people have broken a wrist, but and things like that. But this is a logical logical thing to approve because it's a very short distance. They're walking up this little tiny hill, and it's all dirt to access Clubhouse 5. Otherwise, they have to walk all the way around down a hill and up a steep driveway to get into Clubhouse 5 by foot. It'll take up one parking space that I could see. And it is a minor expense. And I think we need to do this to accommodate our aging population, and we need to make some adjustments, slight adjustments to our streets. I don't know how many residents live in cul-de-sac 341, but there was a lot of three-story buildings. So, I move that we approve the path. Okay. All right. I move that we approve the path to Clubhouse 5.
Yeah, there's already a motion on the table to
Okay, then.
deny, so you could vote
Okay.
against it, and then if it fails, we can make a new motion.
Okay, you can call for a vote on the, I guess.
Are we in the discussion? Are we in the
We are still in discussion.
Okay, I wanted to hear from Brad, if he's still on here. The chair of the Landscape Committee, they had unanimously voted against it. But is Brad gone?
Brett?
Manuel Gomez is also available to give a brief overview if you desire.
Oh, that?
Okay.
Yes, I'd love to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning, members of the board. So this item was reviewed by both the Landscape Committee and the GRF MNC Committee. And both committees unanimously voted to deny the request. To install the requested pathway as a sidewalk would require the construction of some small retaining walls on either side of the proposed walkway area. But more importantly, it also will take out probably 3 or 4 parking spaces from the parking lot and will require that we redo the drainage because all of the parking lot drains to that corner. And as you can see from the exhibits in the staff report, there's a drainage swale that collects all of the runoff from the parking lot. So that will have to be re-engineered. Certainly can be done, but it's not just as simple as going and laying some concrete down. We have a preliminary estimate of $15,000 to do the design and construction if the board wishes to move forward with constructing the improvements. However, probably worth noting if you look at page 15 of 16, attachment 2 of your staff report, this shows the existing pathways from the cul-de-sac buildings to Clubhouse 5, and you'll note that at the back of the clubhouse there is a set of stairs that leads directly from the carport area to Clubhouse 5. I think that was primarily the reason why at least the M&C committee, I wasn't at the landscape committee, but at least the M&C committee felt that there was no need to add another walkway through there. Happy to answer any questions.
Ellen? If you see the red mark, that's where the steps are. I've used it many times because my friends used to live in 3364 building. So that is easy access from there. It's right next to the generator. So it's just that the people may have to walk either around to the right or to the left to get in. So instead of having one set of steps added. There are also steps on Monte Hermoso. That's a long walk for these people. So it's on the, I don't know the direction. So there are steps if people want to use it. Yes, Gary.
Question. A slightly different twist on it. How difficult would it be? I'm assuming that since there's stairs there, the issue is that these folks don't want to climb stairs. how difficult would it be to take out the stairs and make it a sloped walk instead?
It would be challenging. It's quite an elevation difference from the top of the step to the bottom. But I'll also point out to the board, the members who requested this did not indicate that the reasoning was because they didn't want to use the stairs. The letter indicated they just didn't want to walk all the way around to the front of the building. And it's perhaps that, actually, they were silent on the stairs issue. I'm sure they know that they're there, but in none of their discussions or anything did they say, we don't like using those stairs, we need something better.
Question. Chair.
Yes.
Why is it going to take out 3 parking places? Because you're going to put it in an angle? I saw that it would only be, yeah. I've
Well-
never seen that parking lot full, even when the ballroom is full. I haven't. But
Yeah, if you look at page 11 of 16 of attachment 1, that shows you where the bench is right now. If you put the walkway on either side of that, which I think where they're talking about putting it, it leads directly into the parking lot. So you have to remove the parking spaces, and you have to remove the adjacent ones because you don't want a pedestrian coming out and being obstructed by a parked truck or something there. So you have to provide an appropriate sight distance for vehicles that are driving through the parking lot. And then we'll also need to provide a painted pedestrian access through the parking lot. You've seen these, there's the blue stripes all the way to show what the preferred path is for anybody who may be in a wheelchair or something like that would have to be able to walk through there. So it's complicated, it's challenging. Yes, it can be done, but there's an expense to it.
Yes. There is a second meeting going on right now, but can I call for a vote? So all in favor of the
Denying.
correct. So that is the motion. That's what I was, yeah. Favor of denying?
I guess.
Okay. All right.
Can you please use the screen?
Sorry? So we have to vote yes to deny, correct?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Oh, there we are.
Did
This
it
is,
go through?
Approve the motion, I guess, right? Which is
Yes,
to
the
deny.
motion
So
is
it's
to
a
deny,
double.
and if you want to, okay, did it go through?
Paul, I don't have it.
Yeah, we can meet.
So 7 in favor, 0, motion carries.
Ellen and Gary, could you just, okay, I got Ellen's, I need Gary's.
Didn't get mine?
No.
Oh, left or right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
You can actually push on the screen.
Okay, perfect. I have
pressed on the
everyone's
screen
votes.
and that didn't work.
Motion passes.
Motion passes.
You know what?
Okay, let's move on.
It's not-
Item
it's not-
12C, yes, thank you. Entertain a motion to approve bench request in cul-de-sac 314. And when I read it last night, it was recommended to, no, that's the wrong one. Yes, Egon, 12C.
No, hold on.
Bench request in cul-de-sac 314. So shouldn't we make a motion?
Okay,
Yeah.
Resolution 90-25-XX, approve request for a bench in cul-de-sac 314. Whereas a request for a bench to be installed in Via Serena North near cul-de-sac 14 has been made by members who reside in CDS 14, and whereas on February 5th, 2025, the GRF Mobility and Vehicles Committee approved the request for a bench on Via Serena North near CDS 314. And whereas the cost to purchase and install the new bench is estimated to be $2,300, and whereas funding for this purchase and installation is available from the operating fund in the approved budget of 2025 business plan. Now therefore be it resolved, March 4th, 2025, the Board of Directors approves the request for locating the bench in CD and cul-de-sac 314, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I offer this resolution.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got it.
Huh? Yes, Steve?
I voted against the installation of this bench when it came to M&V, primarily on the basis of there was one resident who initially made the application. At the M&V meeting, a petition was handed over with multiple signatures on it from neighbors. My objection to this is severalfold. One is there's no count of how many people would actually even use this bench. There are benches on either side. If you look at page 7 of 10, as far as the convenience of being picked up at the street, if you call for ADA service through our bus system, or if you call for senior mobility, and they will come to the spot closest to your front door. You don't have to wait out on the street. So the only purpose that this really serves is to sit on the street to wait for the bus that comes once an hour, I believe. Or I'm not sure which route that's on. The amount of money is incidental, but what I fear is once you start going down this path and you create this precedence, you're going to have additional requests in additional places, which is just going to increase. So that's why I voted against it, and I'm not in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Martin?
Is this a bus stop? Or
No, it's not a bus stop.
it's not a bus stop. It's
It's a bench.
The bus will stop, and if you flag down a bus anywhere you are on the sidewalk, they will stop for you. So if you look at page 7 of 10 here on the diagram, you'll see there's a bench at CDS 315, and on the opposite side on CDS 312. The new installation of this would just be dead in the middle of it. So, the bus is supposed to arrive at a certain time. I know in the towers they come on the hour and on the half hour. I wouldn't go out there at 45 minutes of and wait for the bus for 15 minutes sitting outside. Just, anyway.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments. Appreciate it. Who else? Andy?
Yeah, I get it. In this situation, we have a need. Residents are trying to get it taken care of. It's also an example of a squeaky wheel. Squeaky wheel gets the oil. And so my question is, do we have available for this board, or maybe for all the boards, a census, a location map of where benches are in this community to see if there's a pattern? We're probably inconsistent. It's a stretch, but, spacing. And then are there any standards? For example, if we were a city subject to ADA, would in fact the spacing of the benches be addressed in that, and we'd have to comply. And even though we don't have to comply, if it's a good idea, I think it, merits looking at. But first things first, can we get a map of where the benches are throughout the community to be shared among all the boards? Because being reactive like this, while it does solve an immediate problem, some people, because they're not as vocal or organized or whatever, they don't get heard and stuff doesn't get done, but the need's still there. So I'm just trying to be consistent in this. So that's my request, that we get a map, not for this particular, this is a separate issue, but going forward, we get a map of this stuff.
Let's resolve this first and then look for that second.
Yeah.
Okay. Because this is a main road. Andy, you know where I live. Bus doesn't even pass over there.
Yeah.
So if I need a bus, I'd have to walk down to the main road, which is Via Carrizo, and only then I can get a bus.
Yeah, but I would bring up,
if we try to resolve all these issues, then
Yeah.
we'll be putting bus stops every 30 feet.
A bench is not necessarily to catch the bus. A bench is to rest your butt when you're tired. All
That
of the
could be it.
seniors, as we get older, it's hard to walk, especially in a hilly area. So if you don't have anywhere to sit down and you're really feeling fatigued, it presents a challenge. Anyway, there's a couple things here and separate issues, you're right. Let's deal with it that way.
Yes, let's deal with it later. Yes,
Okay.
Gary.
All right, thank you.
I move that we table this until we have the information that Andy has asked for.
It's not the motion.
The motion, we are already in motion.
We're in discussion of vote of a resolution.
And it's not.
I move to table it.
Okay.
We already have a motion on the floor, so we need to proceed with the motion, and if the motion fails, then you can make an alternate motion at that time. But Egon made a motion to approve the bench request, and Allison Bach seconded the motion.
So now we need to either vote on it and move forward.
Point of order. We have a motion, and I have asked that it be tabled. Okay?
Is that a second? Do we need a second for that?
Amend that motion?
Yeah, second.
It's the same as an
You have a
amendment.
motion to approve or deny.
I have a question.
Add a motion to.
I'm not sure how this happens, how it moves forward, so I need help.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Regarding Andy's concerns and comments, this particular request, if you read page 3 of 10 in background, it specifically says, the resident at 3128P has requested the installation of a new bench to provide a convenient waiting area for the members of CDS 314 that use the bus service and the senior mobility program. Senior mobility program is a taxi that will come as close to your front door as possible. There are 2 other benches, 200 feet on either side of this, where someone can sit and wait for the bus. Where the circles are. So just to make that comment to Andy's concerns, that's a different topic altogether with the transportation system and M&V and for that. But we have a motion on the floor right now to approve this request, and I have stated that I will not vote for it. We have a second, so unless someone is going to amend it, shall we call for the vote?
Yes.
I think I've addressed this before, but it's worth looking at it again. If I was going to put a bench, say, outside my front door, I would not expect to pay $2,300 for it. I certainly would not expect to pay $1,200 for the bench, and I've looked at a lot of nice metal benches and stuff like that. On the internet, you can check these things out now, and it just seems out of place. Plus, again, I asked this question before and never got an answer. Why are we charging $1,100 for labor? Do we not have any staff that does stuff like this, installs a bench? My goodness. I just thought about it before, because we had a whole bunch of benches put in, and we got outside labor. And the statement at that time was that the outside labor was cheaper than our labor. How can that be? We're already paying the guy. He's sitting someplace, and we can have him install a bench. I just would like to have an understanding, not because of this rinky-dink little bench, but because of the process in general for all of these projects are always not clear.
I'll have staff come up and address that. Art Mejia, our Assistant Director of Maintenance and Construction.
So the estimates that you see there, the $1,100 for the installation, that includes the purchase of the concrete and modifications to irrigation system that will be required. Concrete is quite expensive, so we factor in sufficient funds to cover that in our estimate. It may be a little bit less, but that should cover the cost of materials needed to perform this installation. As you know, this will require not only the footing for the bench, but also a pad underneath, so that leading up to the sidewalk.
Did that answer your question?
I was not questioning the amount. I was questioning the process and why, you know. Thank you, though.
Thank you. Anybody else have any concerns, questions? If not, then we can call for the vote. So please vote if you are in favor of this item or against. Did everybody vote?
No, I need Gary's and...
My cursor just keeps moving.
Okay, do you want to just give... Oh, perfect, we have it. Okay. Motion failed.
Okay, are we done? Motion fails? Okay, no bench. Move forward. Clubhouse 7 lighting upgrade. So that is number D, review Clubhouse 7 lighting request proposal. Number D. Egon, will you read the...
There's no resolution, as this is just a review. So no resolution was provided. This was originally just for the board to review the request for proposal.
So I have a question.
Do we need to move? Okay.
Manuel Gomez will read the staff report.
Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. So this item came before the board last year, I think in November. We brought you bids for this work along with construction bids for the parking lot. The board directed us to go back out to bid again, rejected the bids, go back out, separate the two projects out, bring back a proposal for just the inside lights, and then do the parking lights separately. So we've done that. We prepared an RFP just for the interior lighting portion of the project. The RFP was presented to the GRF MNC committee at their February 12th meeting, and the committee unanimously approved the RFP and the scope of work as written. There was some interest by a couple of the board members to have this come before the full board for review. It's not our normal process, but we wanted to accommodate those requests. So the RFP and the scope of work are included in the staff report as the attachment. We are proposing to replace the existing fixtures in Clubhouse 7. If you've been over there, you'll notice every now and then you'll have some flickering lights. Sometimes some of the lights don't work. And the reason for that is because the LED bulbs that were installed a few years back, the fixtures were not changed out, just the bulbs were, so the existing fixtures don't support the LED bulbs, and so we're having problems. So as a consequence, we've had to revert back in many of those fixtures to CFL fluorescent tubes, which are not very efficient, and we also, due to new regulations, aren't going to be able to purchase that type of bulb anymore. So in 2024, in your capital budget, you allocated funding, the board allocated funding to replace all of these lights. On page 8 of 18 is the price schedule list of what's going to be replaced. You can see that there's about 117 can lights, about 150 LED fixtures, similar to these square ones that are in the ceiling here. The LED exit signs will be replaced, and then we'll also be updating the dimming system to be allow for compatibility. So again, the scope of work is provided here. For any comment or any input that the board may have, we'll be happy to take that. And then we look forward to be able to get this out to get some competitive bids for you.
Yes.
Who? Me? Okay. Lighting upgrade on page 8, there's no prices there, though. That's part of the RFP? It's
yeah,
blank.
so this is the document that will be put out to bid, and then the bidders will fill in their pricing for this, and then we'll bring that back to you.
So I think I understood you to say we're replacing all the lights and everything. Not okay. And that will be approximately 150,000 inside and outside, or that is?
No, that was the budget that was approved for both inside and outside. This is only for the inside portion, the scope of work, which the last set of bids we received was about half of that.
Okay. I'd like to move that we immediately pause the RFP proposal and have our energy consultant, Basil, perform a site inspection and evaluate what is actually needed at Clubhouse 7 and provide us with the rough order of magnitude estimate. And I move that because this motion doesn't block lighting upgrades, but it ensures that they are done correctly and cost effectively. By pausing RFP and allowing Basil to conduct an assessment, we can avoid wasteful spending. We can identify lower cost, energy efficient solutions, and we can ensure compliance with updated energy regulations and maintain transparency and accountability. I strongly urge my fellow board members to support this motion and prioritize our fiscal responsibility in our lighting upgrade decisions. Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Discussion.
Yes.
Why go for a rough order of magnitude when you can actually go out and get the actual numbers from prospective bidders? We're not buying these. We're just looking for real numbers from real providers that to see if this is the direction we want to go.
Well, we already discussed this about having our energy consultant, and I think that we should put some of our confidence behind him and see exactly what is needed. We may not need to replace all of the fixtures. So he is. This is his specialty. I don't know that our maintenance and construction department knows all of the lighting required or knows exactly what needs to be done. Like in the bridge room, the existing LED T8 tubes have already been installed and are being replaced with expensive 2x4 LED panels. Why is this necessary? The ballroom chandeliers, the RFP specifies a particular model and brand without justification. What makes this option superior? Central bar area ceiling cans, the dimming system specs, and the lamp replacement strategy remain unclear. So let's get some clarity and engage Basil out to look at this. Let's pause this RFP, please.
Yes, Steve.
So, if you haven't been in Clubhouse 7, and if you hadn't looked at the lights, you don't know what's there. In 2016, there were dozens of panels purchased, 2x4 LED panels, similar to something like that. And they were purchased and they were never installed. Where they went, nobody knows. It appears from my visitations to the site on multiple occasions that all of the panels, we have LED lights throughout this building. They are tubes. They are T8 LED tubes. We have them in the board lounge. We have them in the main meeting room where we have our closed session. So those type of T8 LED tubes are sufficient, and we use them all the time. It appears to me that the original fluorescent tubes that were in the bridge room have been replaced with LED tubes at some point in time. When and where, I don't know, but they certainly do not appear to be fluorescent to me. There seems to be a few fluorescent T8 tubes in the washrooms, in both the women's and the men's washroom. I agree with staff that any of the 6-inch cans that are in the ceiling, the round 6 inches, they desperately need to be replaced. They're original to the building. They originally had fluorescents in them. They've been trying to do their best to use LED replacements where possible, but under the old dimming system that used fluorescent, the dimming systems for LED are different. So I concur that all those cans need to be replaced. The chandeliers, I was there again yesterday. I see no problem with any of the chandeliers. No one mentioned that there were any problems with the chandeliers. There are smaller T8 tubes in the, what do I call it? The dining hall where the stage is, and some of those are flickering. I don't know why. It may be because they've put LED tubes in there and they still have starters in the circuits, or ballasts are still there in the original conversions from fluorescent to LED. The original LED tubes were built to continue to use the ballasts. New LED technology does not use the ballasts. Ballast can be bypassed, ballast can be removed. I just question the overall necessity to replace every light in the building. And again, as Ellen has mentioned, we do now have an expert who can very quickly and for a very minimal cost visit the site and give us a written report of what his professional opinion is. And that's why I think we need to pause this. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying to consult our solar expert. And you're saying...
No, he's the energy.
Energy.
Oh, okay. All right. And you're saying that the scope, or that the RFP might be like overwritten, that we've got possibly too many fixtures considered in the RFP. You know, the M&C committee unanimously approved the RFP.
That went like this.
Well, who's the chair of the M&C?
Is the
I want to hear
Brad online? Can you check, please? Might be best to listen to him. He's not. Okay.
Who else is on the chair, on the committee? Who else is the RFP Or
Are you on MNC?
GRF?
Yeah, I'm on MNC.
Okay.
Do you recall how the RFP came through the committee? Thank you.
Were you present?
I watched it on Granicus.
Okay.
Staff made the presentation. Brad basically said, does anyone have any objection to approving this to go out for RFP? He heard no objection. He said, so without objection, it's approved. Let's move to the next agenda item. There was really no discussion. No discussion. This may be in excess of $100,000, and some of the work has already been done. A conversion has been done. So, again, I just question the depth of the scope of work, and I would like to have that confirmed by an expert before we spend
I
money.
remember you spec that some of the fixtures were like overpriced or something like that, that what was quoted was not.
In the original RFP, there were some products specified that had that were 6 or 7 years out of date.
Mm-hmm.
Those models were no longer made. I'm not going into that level at this point. I did look at the chandeliers that are listed here in the specification. I can find no pricing at all anywhere online for this product. And I suspect the reason for that is it is a sole source manufacturer, and it is only available through an exclusive distribution network of maybe 10 or 15 distributors nationwide. Again, we have no idea what the pricing of these things are. Again, I question the necessity to replace all the lighting in the building, and if it's necessary, I have no objection to doing it if we have a report from an expert who says, yes, this would make sense.
Okay, thank you.
So,
I got one other question.
One quick note, because I go to Clubhouse 7 almost monthly for an event, and I know we need to turn the lights on, off, dim, whatever, depending upon what event is happening. I know we have problems with the lighting console, but to change the chandelier now would be difficult because it will not match the decor of the room. So if we can just change the lighting which is inside the chandelier and make it work, might be the more effective thing to do. So if the board feels that this is the right direction, that we need to take thing from the consultant.
Okay. I call
Wait,
for the question.
I think, hold on, everybody gets a chance, so Egon has something to say.
Yeah, I didn't realize, I was reading this thing and I was saying replace the chandeliers, and I was thinking, well, we're going to replace the candles or the candelabra, and you're replacing the whole chandeliers. Yeah. It's really interesting. I don't even know what the chandeliers look like. I've been in there 100 times.
Sure.
Which points out something. Projects like this, I think we need to, in the future, we need to start looking at them. Because when I look at stuff, I find that it just looks different from what's being proposed. And that's all the comment. It's something to look at, yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you that it is not a chandelier like we normally think of, which is like a crystal thing. It is a big dish, about 5 or 6 feet wide diameter, and there are lights inside that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if we try to do that, there are like 4 or 6 of them,
13.
or maybe more.
13. They're calling for 13.
Chandeliers? I can't remember how many they are, but I see them every month. Never counted them, but I'm trying to see if I have a picture of it. But it's
Let's
not
call
important.
the vote.
Yeah, let's call for the vote.
Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Yes.
Who is that?
Yeah, we do have a resident comment for this item from Marie Collins.
Okay. Hello, Ms. Collins.
For all of our edification from Robert's Rules of Order, there are certain motions which may be made within a motion, to wit, amend, and then you hold the original motion, and you see if you're going to amend it or not. You go back to table, You should say to table to the end or table to the next, but these motions that are within motions get decided, and then you go back and decide the overall. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
Where are we at then?
I'm sorry, can I get the spelling of the consultant?
Basel, B-A-S-E-L, Alshamat, A-L-S-H-A-M-A-T.
okay. Thank you. So motion is to table?
To move that we immediately pause the RFP proposal and have Basel, our energy consultant, perform a site inspection, evaluate what is actually needed at Clubhouse 7, and provide us with an ROM estimate.
Okay. Oh, a second?
It was seconded.
Oh, you seconded. Okay. All right. So can we get to the vote, please? All in favor of the motion, please vote, or against, whichever way.
Technology.
Yeah. To pause. Yes is to pause the motion. Can you continue?
Take over. Take over. Motion
Okay.
carries. Motion carries unanimously.
Motion carries. We're going to pause and refer to the consultant for analysis in a rough order of magnitude. Okay, moving on to new business 12E. Entertain a motion to approve the vehicle replacement policy, vehicle replacement strategy, March initial notification, 28-day notification for member review, and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360. We have Robert Carroll.
And Egon reads them.
Egon, you got to read the resolution.
Okay. Resolution 90-25-XX. Revision to the vehicle replacement policy, vehicle replacement strategy. Whereas the revision to the vehicle replacement policy vehicle replacement strategy was necessary to increase the life expectancy of electric vehicles from 5 to 10 years. And whereas the General Services Department was responsible for the maintenance and replacement of approximately 260 GRF vehicles and 160 specialty pieces of equipment, and whereas the process included researching and selecting vehicle makes and models that provide long-term reliability, resulting in reduced maintenance costs, and whereas on October 4th, 2022, GRF Board approved the vehicle replacement policy, which includes the vehicle life expectancy of each vehicle class. Now therefore, be it resolved, on March 4th, 2025, the Board of Directors approves a revision to the vehicle replacement policy vehicle replacement strategy by increasing the life expectancy of electric vehicles from 5 to 10 years, and resolve further that the resolution 90-22-46 adopted on October 4th, 2022 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Can I have a motion?
March initial notification, 28-day notification for members' review and comment to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I offer this resolution.
I'll second.
Discussion? We have a staff report that is of need to discuss.
Maybe Robert could just review the overall necessity of the issue.
Absolutely, yes. In October 2022, the GRF Board approved a vehicle replacement policy which included life expectancy for each class of vehicles. We currently have 6 fully electric vehicles in our fleet, plus 4 plug-in electric hybrids, for a total of 10. When the vehicle replacement policy was adopted, there was as you see, an initial 5-year life expectancy. Now that we've had these vehicles, as you see here, it's the 2017 Volts for a number of years, we realized that, hey, these vehicles are functioning well, and we think it's reasonable to increase the vehicle life expectancy from 5 to 10 years. And what that means is, as we evaluate our fleet for replacement, we'll begin to look at those vehicles closely as they approach that 10-year mark. As you can see, we're well beyond the 5-year mark for a few of these vehicles. They're functioning fine, so we feel it's prudent to increase the life expectancy from 5 to 10 years.
Any questions to Robert?
I have one.
Yes.
Robert, on page 3 of 16 in your staff report, you don't have the information here, I'm sure, but at some point, could you provide myself and Gary Durst with the mileage, the current mileage of the 4 Chevy Volts? I'm just curious because I know they're dedicated to 2 different departments, and one gets a lot more mileage than the other one does, and I'm just curious where we stand on those because the vehicles are now approaching 8 years old.
Yeah, we can provide that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion on the resolution? Yes, again.
I just want to make a comment in general. Assigning things like life expectancy, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for things like vehicles because we see that we have all kinds of different life expectancies. I have a hybrid which has 100 and some thousand miles on it. No, just right at 100,000, and is 13 years old now, and is working just fine. In fact, I have absolutely no maintenance except new tires and occasional oil change. So I don't have a problem, as you were saying. You will take a closer look at it. But when we come to the budget, again and again and again, people read the thing into it and say, this has reached this life expectancy of, I'm not kidding this, 7.5 years for a water heater in Clubhouse 1 and 4 for the pools. And I'm going, 7.5 years? That's ridiculous. So I'm really not thrilled with the idea of we're going from 5 to 10 years. 5 was ridiculous in the first place. Why? How did it get in? If cars only lasted 5 years, we wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't buy that brand anyway. So I'm just saying, again, we have questionable stuff going on.
Kush, if I may.
We're throwing darts on the wall.
Just real quickly, Egon, if you read the vehicle replacement policy, and I've confirmed this with Robert as I've been chair of M&V for a while, the way in which his department now handles the replacement vehicles is not necessarily on the schedule on the clock, but these are, at this point, we take a look at it, and if we say the vehicles are still good, we don't replace them, we keep them in service until they get to a point where they become problematic. So this is just a general guideline, and I know that Robert has worked very diligently over the last couple of years to make sure that we do not spend our money unwisely replacing things that we don't need to, and I commend him and his department for his efforts. Thank you.
I do have a question, Robert. Does this just change the amortization of the assets, that if you're extending out the life of things, that should have an effect on, that number, the depreciation? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check with our finance director, Steve Ormuth, on that, because I know there is a financial implication if we do that.
Okay, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
We're about to vote.
Call the vote.
Okay, then let's get to vote. So what is the motion?
Our motion is to change the vehicle policy.
Okay.
My cursor won't move. I'm a yes.
It
Kush,
doesn't like your finger.
I need you, perfect, okay. It passed.
There is a pen there. Gary, there is a pen somewhere over there.
Yeah, we'll have to restart it for next time.
Restart?
We'll have to restart it next time.
Okay, all right. So it did pass, correct? I didn't get to see it, okay. Yeah. Is it time for the break?
Motion carried.
Yeah, motion carries. Let's move forward. And is it time for the break?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the break and 11:25. Yes.
11:30.
Would be too much, 15 minutes.
No, 5 minutes. We take a
11:16
5
right
minute.
now, 11:25. See you, see you.
We're getting through it. We're getting through it. Finally.
Thank you. Oh, sorry about that, but I was just making an announcement to all of us that we need to be out of here, so the next meeting, which is at 1:30, is able to come in comfortably and get set up and do all that stuff. So we just had a break, and the next item is report of the committee chairs. So next item is report of the Finance Committee. Mr. Treasurer, are you ready with your
Yes,
rendition?
Kush, I am ready.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the Finance Committee met on February 19th, just a couple weeks ago, and we discussed preliminary year-end results. We're not going to discuss that in today's meeting, but if you're interested in that discussion, go on Granicus for the February 19th meeting, and we cover in some detail preliminary results for 2024, which showed us coming in shortly under budget on net revenue. So our costs were higher than we expected. So it's a slight under budget. When the audit is complete, a complete year-end report will be issued, and we'll take questions at that time about that. But now today, we're going to talk about January results that have come in, and we don't have a lot of detail, and there isn't much to say, but going through the various slides, let's look at slide number 1. This first slide shows all revenues and expenses by operating, reserves, and restricted funds. For this period, GRF had a net revenue of $125,000, based on total revenue of $4.5 million and total expenses of roughly $4.4 million. GRF was worse than budget by $81,000, with total expense coming in better than budget by $43,000, combined with total revenue worse than budget. Now, January is a funny month. There's lots of things going on. Basically, the big thing that happened was that our resales of units, which every time we have a sale of a unit, we receive $7,500 up front. We were 10 units short, so that's $75,000. That's a timing thing, and it's too early to say if we're going to be below plan for the rest of the year or if we'll make it up. That's all I have to say about slide 1. Slide 2. This slide displays the operating fund activities, which excludes non-operating revenues, expenses, and depreciation. This shows an unfavorable variance of $69,000 for January, with total expense worse than budget by $25,000, combined with non-assessment revenue worse than budget by $44,000. I checked with our CFO, Steve Hormuth, a lot of items in this, so there's nothing really that we want to highlight at this time. Let's move on to slide 3. This slide shows the sources of revenue other than assessments, such as fees and rentals. Year to date, we received $937,000 in non-assessment operating fund revenue, and you can see that on the pie chart. Our largest revenue category is broadband services, followed by golf revenue, clubhouse rentals, and event fees. And then other revenue includes a variety of things. Right now, broadband services is being looked at, and things are being done to significantly affect how we run that segment of our business. We don't have anything to say right now, and it's too early to say if anything is negative. What we will do is push the positive and offset the negative when we find out what it is and what we can do. Let's go on to slide 4. Consistent with prior months, our largest operating fund expense is compensation, followed by cable programming expenses. Of the $4 million, excluding depreciation, these two categories account for 67% of total operating expense. Insurance, professional, legal, outside service, utilities and fuel, etc., make up the remaining 33%. It's pretty consistent. It could change, though, if, depending on the broadband activities. But right now, it's been holding pretty steady at about 2/3 or 2-to-1. Let's go on to slide 5. The reserve and restricted funds adjusted balances are shown here. If you begin out all the way on the left, reserve funds have a combined ending balance of $43.8 million. Restricted fund balances have an ending balance of $2.8 million. Included in these totals are contributions received in 2025 through assessments, trust facilities fees, which I mentioned earlier, and investment earnings. Second column shows the work in process of $11.4 million for reserves and 0 for restricted funds, reflecting the amounts paid for projects not yet completed. So it's on an accrual type basis. Third column represents the resulting adjusted fund balances of $32.3 million for reserves and $2.8 million for restricted. Fund balances are in line with expectations, and they are expected to increase per plan for the rest of the year. Let's go on to slide 6. This slide, and I alluded to it earlier, shows a resale history, and this doesn't address what we budgeted exactly, but I'm told we came in about 10 units under what we budgeted for January, and that resulted in $75,000 in less revenue than budgeted. But again, timing is everything, and this could be resolved later on. If we see that there's a permanent trend downward, then we'll have to take steps to offset it. But right now, there's no reason to do so. Let's go on to the next slide. Slide 7 lists where the reserve money is committed. Of the $23 million appropriated by the board for various projects and equipment expenses, the remaining encumbrances against our reserve funds is $12.3 million, and it's primarily for vehicles and renovation projects. Let's move on to slide 8. In this slide, we compare our adjusted fund balances to the historical balance for the past 5 years. And this shows that GRF has averaged $31 million in reserve funds and $3.1 million in contingency funds. I just want to point out that those monies are actively invested by us in the market in safe instruments as dictated by law and prudence. So we have this money, except some operating cash need balances, we have this money in government securities, very safe government securities, which have been giving us a very good return. For prudence sake, we haven't budgeted what we're actually getting because you never know what rates. But needless to say, we're running favorable to budget on our investment returns through interest. And that's all I have to say on that. Our next Finance Committee meeting is April 16th at 1:30 p.m. in the boardroom. We'll probably have March results at that time. And we'll, if anything happened in February, for sure we'll cover that. Thank you.
Okay. So,
if you have a question. Okay, Steve.
I just wanted to mention that while we've been seated here today, we all received an email from staff with the monthly sales report for February on home sales. And we have 7 more sales this year than last year for the month of February. An increase of $6 million in total sales for the month of January year on year. And the average resale price has gone from $416,000 to $474,000. So at this point, we're up $3 million year on year to date, January 1st to date, and we're up 4% in sales when you include the February numbers.
Excuse me.
Good.
Okay. If Andy, you're done, then report of the revenue generating committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a very interesting session on February 9th. I'm sorry, it wasn't the 19th, it was the 21st. And we went through about 18 different ideas that had come forward and sorted them out on a grid of 5 different parameters to evaluate whether they were worth pursuing or not, in the opinion of the group present. And we came up with some ideas that essentially sorted the sheep from the goats. And some of the ideas were great long-term capital projects rather than short-term revenue, and it might involve a lot of capital investments before they started paying off. So we sorted that out. And the end result of it was that items that we saw as short-term revenue-generating possibilities are pay-per-view events, more pack upscale events that sell nice tickets, and advertisements perhaps on the community website. Now, these 3 items require some pencil pushing from our finance people in order to scope them out to see if they're really worth what they might produce and how we might go about them. Obviously, there are some legal questions as well that have to be answered about those, and that will be the subject of our next. Some of the long-term revenue-generating ideas that have to be considered by other people at other times and places were things like repurposing the pile of dirt that's behind this clubhouse, repurposing club spaces, considering a car wash, erection of a car wash, and converting, as well as a new clubhouse, and also converting Clubhouse 6 to luxury villas for sale or for rent. So it was a very productive meeting. It was kind of fun to think about these things in a non-judgmental way, and we will reconvene the festivities later this month on
21st.
March 21st. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Report of the Community Activities Committee, Director Ellen.
That's me. Okay. We had several clubs represented, lawn bowling, the jewelry making. We had, we reviewed the new pack ticket software, which will improve reporting of event tickets that are sold. The community center fitness center, is the TV, there's still some activity, some people requesting other stations to be on the TV. There's a lot of disputes there, and decisions have been made, but it keeps being brought up. We had a partial review of the recreation policy, and we are not completed. We may complete it next meeting or, after that, but I suggest that anybody that's interested, review the recreation policy and provide your feedback at the next meeting on March 13th at 1:30 in the boardroom. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was thinking that the CAC would be probably meeting with finance at your next meeting, perhaps, because they're making their rounds. I would hope that CAC would consider looking at adding the video displaying at the PAC to have it start at the CAC level. I was there, and there's wonderment as to how that could work, but I could see that a wraparound screen towards the back and the sides would work perfect for enhancing the appearance and the production. The cameras are already there in place, but they're not being used. And now that they've got the live video switch in there, all we need is display. I think you need probably about $100,000 to make that happen, which is a lot less than the sound system that we just bought. At any rate, consider that, please.
Are you talking about where the flyers are on the wall, or where are you talking about?
No, like above the performers, behind them.
Oh, you're talking about in the
on
auditorium.
the stage. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But get an expert in there who provides that and have them evaluate. They'll give you a good possibility. But I could see something like that working nice.
We could start the conversation, but we're not involved in the finance end of it. We've been taken
Hit 'em
out
up.
of that. Yeah,
We
but
we
we're
can
moving on to
discuss that at
finance,
a
so
different.
thank you.
This is not the right venue for this. All right. Report of the Landscape Committee is the Director Reinhardt. I don't know if he's online, but I think we will arrange it next time that if he's unavailable, that all his committee reports are handed in earlier so we can have at least the staff read it for us. Okay. So the next item is also maintenance and construction.
I can make a comment.
Okay, sure, if you are.
Yeah, well, we had a meeting, and one of the things that was interesting, a lady came from the tennis club, and she said there was a wall up on the
Yes.
above the tennis club that had collapsed, and it looked really ugly. Would we please fix it by the time they have their tournament or something? And then, like so many people that comment, she walked out afterwards and never got the message. But I looked at that. I went right after the meeting. I went over there, and in fact, it's not a collapsed wall. What it is, it's a purpose-built drainage capture spot. Unfortunately, they didn't. They put it in there with cement, and so it's a different color from the wall. The wall being a light brown. The brown, we see the bricks everywhere.
Correct.
So it looks terrible. I recommended that we paint it and maybe we cap it with the same kind of stone that's on the wall. It would look good then. But again, it was a false alarm. And it was funny to think but many of the committee members or some of the committee members got visibly upset, and how can this be written for 3 years and there was nothing wrong? We got to see stuff. That's the whole point.
It's a matter of reporting.
And our next meeting will be on April the 9th.
Fabulous. Thank you, Egon, for filling in.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So next item is report of the Energy Ad Hoc Committee. Am I right? Director Durst.
Thank you. Well, we haven't had a meeting in the last month. It doesn't mean there hasn't been activity. We needed, just to lay the background, we have found out at our electricity provider, SCE, has asked for more than a 45% increase over the next 4 years, and they may even go higher if they get hit as responsible for the last fire. GRF has sufficient reserves to buy solar to avoid these cost increases, reducing the need to increase monthly fees. In getting there, we needed to get from finance information on our past usage, and that included usage by 15-minute intervals and the bills. That has all been done. We hopefully today will finalize hiring our energy consultant, and we have a tentative meeting with our SCE account manager on Thursday to understand some uniquenesses in between what we're using and what we're being billed for. And then after we get all of that, then we will be getting in a position to try and look at what solar projects we might want to take on, and we are also going to want to get with staff from the point of view of reviewing what's going on at each of the clubhouses, one thing and another, to see if we can either eliminate some of our usage or move it, because it's time sensitive. We get billed higher, especially in the summer, for usage between 4 and 9 at night. And we're going to have to look at all of those things, and what we can't avoid may then tell us what kind of battery storage that we might have to purchase to cover that usage. Anyway, we have a number of things working, and we should have a meeting probably in a couple of weeks. As soon as we've been able to gather enough information to sit down and start working on things.
Thank you. When is your next meeting? Oh, you don't have it? Okay, it's to be determined.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Gary. I have full confidence that when you come next time, you'll be coming with, like we say, bearing with fruits. So, all right, good. Thank you. Next meeting, next report is of the Communications Committee, Director Bach.
No meeting since the last report in February, so
Thank
nothing
you.
to report.
All right, next one is report of the Broadband Ad Hoc Committee, Director Rosa.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a closed meeting, met on February 19th, and our next meeting is this Thursday, March 6th at 1:30.
Okay. Next item is report of the Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Director Stephen Levitt.
So we had a good meeting, and the major points were that we did make the alteration to the electric vehicles longevity, which we voted on today. The department is picking up 2 electric utility vehicles for landscape. If you think about the mules that they use out in the field, the 4-wheel drive kind of things, they're going to purchase 2, one of each different manufacturer, that have longer beds, and they're hoping that they will have very long service lives without the necessity of the maintenance that's required for those smaller block engines. So that will be interesting to see how it comes out. We did have a discussion regarding transportation programs, and Mr. Carroll is looking at a number of possibilities, including combining 2 of the existing routes that we have, which would eliminate 1 bus full-time for some savings. Also, I'm going to look at the usage of the commercial routes, commercial 1 and 2, and possibly instead of running them every day to go to Trader Joe's or to Stater Brothers, maybe operating them 3 times a week, thereby possibly getting a 40% reduction in those 2 routes over the course of years. And he is diligently working with Chris Macon for the Senior Mobility Program, and we're hoping we can get a few more thousand people signed up for that, and they can start using the taxi program, which the people who do use it are really happy with it. So, and the next meeting is going to be May 7th at 1:30 p.m. Thank you.
Okay. Report of the Security Community Access Committee, Director Gott Hoffner.
Yeah, so this was my first meeting with security, either as the director or as anything. So I'm the chair of the thing. We had a pretty good meeting. I did introduce the idea that we were going to automate our gates, at least 9 of our gates to start, and that was pretty well received by the committee. And we will have a budget item for next year on there. We'll have to get some costs and discuss a lot of things before we get that far, but that one. The rest of the meeting was pretty good. A couple of resolutions. They were going to get bulletproof vests for outer garments for the security staff, and that's a relatively small expenditure. And right now, an interesting thing that came up we didn't discuss, but is the gates that we have are apparently getting hit because they're badly adjusted and people, they don't go up fast enough. My gate is bad, gone again. And sometimes it takes a long time to get those things fixed. And some of the gates, when they don't have that automatic stuff, you have to go through like visitors, and you have to pull your pass out and show it and all that kind of stuff. It's a pain in the neck. So I'm going to check into why it is that we don't have spare parts on site. This is crazy. Yeah. But other than that, it was a good meeting, and our next meeting is going to be in April 23rd.
Fabulous. Next item is report of the Laguna Woods Village traffic hearing. Director Ellen?
Yes. I'm going to repeat what you said when you started the meeting today, that it is costly to run a stop sign or do a roll through, do the California roll. That will be very costly because the fees have changed, so be very conscious of that, a couple $100. I don't, no school, no traffic school?
Not yet. It's still in the offing, but they are considering to cancel the school because it's not adding any value. Because so we'll just leave it at that. You'll hear more about it. That's part of the security. Remember?
Yeah.
It was discussed that they are considering because people are just abusing that.
For one thing, it's not a real traffic school. It's
Correct. Yes.
Right.
Mickey Mouse.
So anyway, the stop signs are the big thing to look for. That's where most of the tickets are.
Right.
And illegal entries, few of those. So next meeting is March 19th at 9 a.m. in the boardroom. Thank you.
Yeah. Executive hearings are next. Director Bach?
This Thursday is our next session. We have one case. We are so well behaved in this community. Only one case, Dan. That's it.
All right. Report of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force. That's Director Rosa.
Yes, this task force met on January 28th. And of course, the big discussion was all about the Eaton and Palisade fires that that occurred earlier that month. I was happy to see the CEO report showed the go bag. You know how that's been now, because there were so many people that have like, okay, what do we do? Where do we go? You know, and it's going to be a dynamic thing that you know, some areas would be roped off or barricaded off, and you know, you just got to be tuned in. The code red thing is very important. I can't stress enough the communication needs that we have in this community, that we are tuned in as to what goes on. I like what they're doing and getting more connected with mission critical awareness with the county. I'm hoping to see that more, like a capital program with our radio system to be more digitized and interconnected with the county, that we could have faster responses. But our next meeting is on March 25th, and 1:30. Yes.
Okay. So.
Oh, I forgot to add that they did test out the antennas at the clubhouses, the amateur radio club, and they are operational now as a secondary means of communicating throughout the village.
Okay, Director Rosa, don't hang up, because we can continue with the information technology.
That we can do, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a closed meeting on February 28th. It's virtual. And then our next meeting is going to be on March 28th. And like I say, it is a Zoom-in meeting.
Good. Thank you. I did not see the space planning meeting at the least. We had a fairly well-attended meeting. A lot of ideas were discussed, but it was all a fact-finding, as I mentioned earlier. There is no decision made yet, and our next meeting is going to be March 24th at 9:30 a.m. So tune in and be present if you can, if you want to.
And we are going to have a tour of Building E.
But that is only for the directors.
That's who I'm
that
talking
is
to.
before the meeting.
Yeah.
Not on that day.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, we finished our committee reports, but there was one thing that was brought to my attention, that a lady stopped in and she felt a little embarrassed to talk. So she left a note. Can I request you to please read this?
If I can read it.
Please. You can try.
Let me
Her
see.
name was Winifred Jacob.
Okay, yeah, the unit number is 5473C.
And she has a whole long
And
note
her
at the back.
agenda item is the golf course.
Okay.
Par 3, maintenance, par 3 golf course. Maintenance trees. 1, chopped up trunk of downed trees still on the fairway after 2 weeks. Another tree sways, tilts over sand pit, practice area. 3, closed sign is ignored. Closed sign is ignored, needs a larger sign in various languages. Many people practice with workers, while workers try to do their tasks, and endangered workers' residents where practice is against the rules. There are a couple practice areas on the par 3 course, and I don't see how, generally speaking, that they would impact workers unless somebody's practicing somewhere else. And the only workers, in fact, I've never seen any workers on the golf course, at par 3 golf course,
It's
except
okay.
maybe around the house, around the little gate shack, if you want to call it that. Yeah, so I don't know. And the closed sign is ignored. Well, it's pretty big. I don't. If you make it bigger, it's hard to ignore that closed sign because it's right on the walkway as you walk to the starter shack. So.
But it's okay. At least
Okay.
she had her opinion, and we
Yes.
read it. And I've noticed that I live very close to the par 3 golf course, so I usually go there to relax in the shade. So I notice people playing even on a day the course is closed when staff are not there, and that means we are not collecting the dues that day. So people do play because it's there.
The course isn't, generally speaking, closed except for once in a while weather or something like that. So I don't know how that would. It's open 7 days a week normally.
On national holidays, when staff are not
That's
available?
especially when golf
Yes.
is played.
Anyway, thank you for the comments. And next is future agenda items. I don't know if we have anything. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, apart from that, we can move forward to the director comments. Director Motwani, do you want to tell us any?
I would like to add an item for. I would like to add an item for consideration by the board. One of our friends, I went to their house in Irvine, and they had a fake grass. It would look so nice and felt so nice to go, and there's no work required. You don't need to trim or do anything. So I was wondering, why don't we look at something like that? So it would actually save us money for mowing and whatever, but I'm sure it will be initially some cost.
That's a good point.
So-
But we already are thinking of working on the turf reduction portion. So maybe you want to bring this up to the landscape department,
Okay.
means the landscape committee, and they can move that forward.
Okay.
Okay, Director Durst.
One of the people I play bocce with is a geologist, and we got he and another lady that also plays, who was a heavy-duty welder. Nothing you would have ever expected out of this little lady. But what the two of them brought up was, there's a lot of talent in this village, an amazing amount of talent. And what we haven't done is, or at least not to my knowledge, is put out a notice saying, if you've got a special talent or knowledge base, we'd like you to let us know about that, so that in the future we can tap into that. Like the geologist, I have asked to go take a look at a piece of our property, and he said, I'd be happy to do that. And this is a guy who testifies in court and does all sorts of things. I think we've got a source that we should tap into. Thank you.
Good point. Madam Ellen?
I'm going to talk senior mobility again because you heard about the mobility, M&V talking about eliminating some of the routes possibly. So, and I know, Kush, you talked about meeting with the city manager and about reducing maybe any cost in here. I don't know what happened there.
We haven't gone to that point yet. We haven't reached there yet. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask that we can set up an appointment and we can meet together.
Okay. Yes. All right. That's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you.
Director?
I have just one comment, and that relates to golf. I have a neighbor, Wendy, who's actually come before the committee to report how hard it was to get a tee time. She has had skin cancer, so she has to watch when she plays golf. And she was having a lot of difficulty getting a tee time that would be less abusive with the sun. She does report with the new policy where you have to show your member card that that's not a problem anymore, that tee times seem to be readily available. Now, I don't know if anything else has changed that, but it just goes to show if we enforce policies, we get benefits.
Good. So
right,
it's
that's
good
all
to
I have
know
to say.
there might be another topic that we can discuss at our closed meeting.
Okay.
Based on what you just said.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Director Rosa?
6 a.m. That's you got to jump in there to make your reservation. It's 7 days in advance. It's crazy, but I just want to encourage our committees that I'm hoping, like security or space planning, that they pursue getting a new a digital radio control system for security. That's something that's going to be needed whenever they relocate to their permanent home, as well as I'm looking forward to seeing. Like you said, there's people that have got expertise in this. I want to see something more advanced at the PAC, with respect to entertainment display. And there's other stuff. Thank you.
Egon?
Well, I think we need to, if we get these various committees, if they're giving out budget items at committees, we need to look at some of these things and then go get online. I did one of them that was on the CAC. They asked for $100,000 to replace pool furniture. So I went and looked at all of it, and most of it looks like they're talking about the Chase lounges. Okay, most of them look like they're new. I think we have 100. I don't have the numbers with me, and it doesn't make any sense. Plus, they ask them for $100,000, and these items aren't that expensive. So And 4 years ago, there was a project, or 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't remember, but I'm going to check into it, and maybe we can even get what they actually spent. We had the same project, only then it was $190,000. Okay. So something's very wrong with these items. When you look at them, we got one budget item coming up that's going to be $800,000 to do something or other with sand traps at the golf course. So I'm going to contact the presidents of the various golf clubs and ask them their opinion on this.
Good point.
There are things we cannot sit here and make decisions that are that important when all we're getting is very, very limited input. Okay, we're going to, if we budget our money properly and only do things that make sense, and I'll talk more about that some other time, but we will have plenty of reserves. It's that, for example, we just spent $3 million plus on Clubhouse 1. 2 things were left undone, which was really interesting. And yet we have $6 million coming down the pike in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
For what?
Exactly. We have to review the capital budget.
Anybody that puts these things together should be putting together a support document beforehand, not after the fact, not just some number. Anyway, we got to watch the budget, otherwise we're failures as a board.
Thank you. Director Leonard?
Couple things. First, I want to say how greatly I appreciate having the privilege to serve on this board. I take my service here very seriously for the best interests of everyone in the village. Second, I want to say how much I appreciate all the members of the current board. I don't think I've seen a strong GRF board in as long as I can remember. And I've been here since 2012. Second, I'm also very grateful that we're seriously looking at energy efficiency and solar PV. We spent almost $1.4 million on electricity last year for GRF. If indeed the SCE rates do go up 45% over the course of the next several years, our bill will be in excess of $2 million annually. We live in a time where grants and refunds may be in jeopardy, so they could be extinguished at any point in time. So we do need to work diligently and quickly, and not recklessly, but diligently. And I also want to say it's first day of Mardi Gras, and it's also National Pound Cake Day. So everybody go eat some pound cake. Thank you.
Thank you all. Great comments. We definitely need to do many things, and I strongly support all the comments that you all had, especially the solar ones. Sun is for free, so make use of it. And closed meeting is coming up. I think we don't want to wait till 1, but we can start at 12:45. Okay? Eat, enjoy, relax, be nice to everybody. Take care. Thank you. And we are in recess.